So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Game vs. Bias. We're here with our first game, Amnesia Rebirth. Now, I'm sure some of you heard of Amnesia. It's a popular horror series made by Fictional Games. And we're looking at the sequel to Amnesia The Dark Descent, that is the first game from this series. And well, let's start with our initial thoughts in order. I'd say, how about you, Stefan? You start first.
Well, the game was kind of scary. I mean, honestly, my initial thoughts were it's interesting, and knowing already about the genre of the game of the series, I was like looking over my shoulder every freaking second of the game, and but yeah, it was suspenseful. It was it was an interesting experience, I should say. But I sadly I couldn't finish it because I'm not that fond of scary games. So
Hey man, it's fine. I was the same. I didn't get to finish it. I will finish it, but for now, I shut my pants enough for now. Anyway, how about you, Eddie? What are your thoughts? Your initial thoughts?
All right. First off, can I say how I love how you transitioned to Christopher Walken while talking about?
Do I?
Yeah, you started going. You started off fluid, and then slowly but surely.
You see, this watch.
You went into this.
Hey, man.
Oh,
Just it's just me. It's me, Christopher Walken. Shit happened.
No, but
Hello there, fellow young people.
No, but seriously now, okay, so my initial thoughts on the game, I had high expectations from it because I really loved the first game. And I also liked Soma, but that one's not in the same universe, I believe. I think that one's a separate IP from them.
Yeah.
But I always have high expectations from Frictionals because they know how to make a game. I'm also transitioning into my own Christopher Walken right now, but they know how to actually create tension and not rely on cheap jump scares to make a game scary. That being said, unfortunately, this game kinda relies on cheap jump scares in order to remind you that you are playing a horror game. But we'll get to that later. Initial thoughts though, good game. Liked it, liked the tension in some parts, didn't really like the oppressive atmospheres in others because there was no oppressive atmosphere. And we'll get deeper into that line of thought after we do this.
Of course.
After
All right.
these messages.
After this message from our sponsors, I wish.
Raid Shadow Legends.
What about you, Chobo? What were your thoughts?
Well, to be honest, I'm gonna have to side with Eddie on this one. I'm usually a guy that's afraid of scary games, right? So I'm like, oh my god, scary games. No, I'm gonna just like have a heart attack. The atmosphere usually kills me. This was the case with both Soma and the original Amnesia. Even a bit with the less favorite child of Amnesia, which is A Machine for Pigs, but I can't really fault the devs on that one because it wasn't the same developers as just publishing it, you know? So, but, I had some expectations going into this, and oof. It's the best way to describe it.
And they were shattered.
I won't say completely shattered, there's some good bits, but we'll get to that later.
Alright. Lastly, I will be last, but Daniel, you go.
I'm someone who doesn't like scary games, not because spooky, scary, ooga booga. No, I hate the fact that I rely on cheap jump scares and a lot of things that basically force your animal instincts to just go into overdrive. For example, that loud noise that's sudden Yeah, I don't
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I hated that too.
That's like what I hate for like every kind of horror game. I tend to like the horror games that let me that fester in the back of my head. That are like, what if? What if something that makes me paranoid? That makes me not trust people. That make me to not to make me clear that I don't understand reality. So yeah. What did I expect in the game? Not much. I did expect to be a bit better in the Dark Descent, given the time gap between development, or at least the story. I was not impressed at all. Especially what happens later on in the game. Instead of making me more empathize with the characters, it made me angry. But that's something for later.
Yeah, you can share your opinions for later. No worries. Right.
Yeah.
Now, my opinions. Well, I was for sure certain that I was going to be shitting my pants, and I did. It's scary, as a horror game should be. The atmosphere is pressing. Not at the beginning, but once they ease you into it. Story-wise, so we'll talk about that when we reach it. But my initial impressions were okay, were good. I don't think the game is bad by any stretch. And yeah, that's about it.
If I may add,
Sure.
seeing as I'm the noob here, but with scary games, like I had a really different experience than you guys. I wasn't like disappointed with with how this scary stuff happened. I did encounter like jump scares, like for example, I think if you get one of the mechanics that we're gonna talk about later in the game is your fear, and like when you're too afraid, you actually get more jump scares. Either way, like I as you guys said, I also shat my pants, and yeah, it's just it was.
Did you change them at least?
Yeah, I did. It was a bit. It was overwhelming for me. It wasn't disappointing. It was more like overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. All right, no, that's good. It's good to have different opinions here. That's the point.
I have
of
to
this
say
podcast.
the jump scares were more evident in this game, and I say they were at least after a certain point they're far more than at the beginning.
All right. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
we'll-
these a bit later, guys. Come on.
Now let's move on to our next topic, which would be options in UI design, just mechanical things.
Well, I'll be the first one to complain about this. Well, not exactly complain. Like, it's not super special. It's utilitarian, basically. I would have loved to be able to, like, move separate volume sliders, for example. That's, like, a minor nitpick, because I also kind of understand why they can do that.
Yes, that's also
Because
something
everything in sound in this game really contributes to the atmosphere itself.
You cannot mute the music just so you can hear the footstep, because otherwise you're gonna miss cues, for example, when something chases you.
Can I also add that regarding options, I do appreciate that at least this time, compared to Amnesia Dark Descent, they added far more options
Yeah.
to customize your experience. Like I remember the original Amnesia, I think we had about a handful, maybe 6, 7 options in the entire options menu. This time they gave you things to fiddle around with. Not a lot. It's by no means a standard of 2020.
What are the FOV sliders?
You actually have an FOV slider, I think.
No, you don't.
Don't you? Ah,
No.
well. But there were more options. That I could appreciate. So I'm gonna give them a big plus for this. At least they tried. They get the "You tried" trophy for this one.
Regarding
Right,
regarding the UI, I would say it's a lot more cleaner. At least the overall inventory is a lot much. It's far better than this Dark Descent. I would say that. you can actually see certain things instead of, I don't know, it felt more awkward in Dark Descent than here.
Yes, I don't know. I'd say the UI is kind of the same. At least that's how I thought of it. Didn't really get the whole idea of, oh, when you find something, it's not just a note, it's a drawn picture of your protagonist, Tassie.
Yeah, I like that.
Telling you, oh, you did that, or you don't have this. That can be intuitive. It can also not be intuitive. I didn't really find a problem with it. And just like any other of their games aside from the Penumbra series, the UI while in game is completely not there. It's minimalistic.
What I can appreciate, and I have to give them bonus points for this, is when you pick up matches. For me, at least, in a tension-filled moment where you're actually being chased and you want to pick something where it's under stress, having the visual cue of how many exact matches you have, because you're not directly looking for like the edge of your eye, you see you've picked 1 instead of saying 2x matches. That's a lot better because you can actually process it much easier by having a visual cue of how many matches you actually get, and not get distracted from what you're doing.
That is true. But like any good horror game, I appreciate the lack of UI while you're in the game. It doesn't distract you with health bars, how much stuff you have in your inventory, much like the first Amnesia.
Yeah, it distracts you with tentacles around the edge of the screen.
We'll get to that when we get.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Because I have my own issues with that mechanic. But
yeah.
I think everyone has a bit of an issue with that mechanic.
No, I have an issue with another mechanic regarding the whole tentacle things.
Yeah.
But let's keep a positive vibe for now, because this game is by no stretch bad.
Yeah,
like,
it's not
I wouldn't call it bad.
It's not terrible.
No, it's not bad.
I'm not gonna just put it and throw rocks at it all day long.
No,
but it's just well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
It's not what we all expected.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other? Oh, sorry, Chris.
I don't think I have anything else to add to this section of our podcast. I thought the entire UI was pretty smooth, pretty easy to navigate. So.
Can I also say,
sure.
I really appreciate that they gave you the option, just like Beast Within. When you pick up a note, you can make it visible on a white on black.
Yeah, that's a nice.
You can actually read it and comprehend it perfectly.
Definitely.
It sort of reminded me of L.A. Noire, honestly.
Yeah, sure. I just said Beast Within because that's the first game that popped into my head when I thought of this.
Yes, I thought of L.A. Noire with the whole rotating notes so you can see on the back if it's something. I actually tried to do out the most of the notes, hoping there is something. Unfortunately, I was unpleasantly let down.
It's not a detective story, so it wouldn't make sense. It's not a detective story. It wouldn't make sense to try and hide information from the player.
Yeah, but if you're gonna dedicate the whole idea of spinning something, you might as well just get inventive and instead of having the black on white text and having a 2-page, for some they don't want to use that. They just want to read it out loud. I was not one of them.
Yeah, but with a horror game like this, they want you to experience as much of the story as possible. They don't want you to feel cheaped out because you didn't turn the page or something.
I guess. I mean, you don't have to because you're already relying on the whole black and white text thing to read it whole. But for those who just want to read the page, flip it. Immersion.
Good luck reading those fonts because some of those pages were
especially one that are old, decrepit, wiped, blood stains, etc. Yeah, that no.
All right. Do you guys have anything else to add to this?
I mean, since we were talking about how the pages look, how about we talk about graphics next?
About to point that out.
Hey, give me points for trying to make a segue into the next.
No. Can I start with the graphics? Possible.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Go.
So, I've played the game on high, just because I could. And, okay, first of all...
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah. I don't know, at certain points, I felt as if the game was developed in another engine, like example, Unity, which...
I'm not sure what engine they use, but I'm
it's
pretty sure
homemade. It's
Frictional
actually-
has their own engine.
It's their own.
It's their LHP engine.
Yes. So, the textures, if you go up close, you can see they're blurry. I actually found something near the beginning of the game at the crash site where, you have the mechanic where you can actually crouch, you can actually crawl. You see on the ground, if you're standing up, you see bits of rocks in the sand. If you actually crawl, you can see that the texture for those rocks is flat and is slightly above floating from the ground. Also, as always, textures in the wall, like bushes that are from within the rock, or stretched pixels and the textures, etc.
Classic bugs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the classic bugs and stuff
Yeah, I
that you
think
find
it's-
in any game.
I'm a bit
developers just
nitpicky,
say
but-
F it.
Oh, and the fire, it's 2D. It's
Is
literally... Yes, it's a 2D fire that rotates with your perspective. Also, I noticed I had some graphical issues I managed to get on video, but rather stable, except where it was water. The FPS started to tank a bit, but not significantly. I don't know if that was the game for most
I didn't experience that.
Uh,
Also, but don't take my word for it, because I didn't even notice the 2D fire. Like, you can tell how astute I am and how much
yeah,
attention I
I'm
pay to
gonna
the graphics.
get. Yeah, I managed to notice it at points where you weren't in a high tension moment. Just saying. Otherwise, I didn't see. I'm not saying the game is looking bad. It's okay. It portrays what it tries to portray. However, it looks like a game from 2015. Although,
I mean,
for
I'll
an
cut in
indie
here for
development
a
team,
sec. I'll cut in here for a sec.
please.
Honestly, for me, the game looks exactly like it did when the first Amnesia came out.
No.
No, comparing the two Amnesias, graphically speaking,
No.
you can
I
see
think
that they've improved.
Water looks better and some shading looks better. But otherwise, I've seen the same kind of textures, I've seen the same kind of lighting.
Mm,
It's a good vehicle to move the plot along. It tells you what you need to do, it tells you where to go. It actually gives you some good feedback in terms of visual quality. And,
I don't know.
I'll
Your-
give it this. There's some scenery in the game that just goes ooh wow.
oh yeah, desert.
I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, at least, most textures look crisper than the original Amnesia. And the original one, you could tell some of them were a bit muddy. If that makes sense, what I'm telling you.
Yes,
Okay, I
because
could-
that
I
game,
could.
I don't know, it kind of had like a filter. If I don't
But-
know, it felt as if it like had a filter.
But I don't know. Speaking from my own experience, I didn't come into this game knowing it's frictional games, expecting high fidelity,
Yeah,
no.
1:1 ratio
No.
for real life. Like, this is frictional. They just want to tell a story or make you feel in a certain way while playing. They
No,
don't really. focus
Yeah,
on
no,
it.
For
From-
a small
from,
indie
like-
dev team,
It's like
that
Chobo
is-
said. So it's like Chobo said. The game is passable. Like, you can go through it, and if you don't pay attention, like zoom in on every texture on the ground, you should be fine.
Yes, again, for a small indie dev team that is less than 100 people, yes, it's, I
they
believe,
still
less
small?
than 50. To make a game that looks like something from 2015 and for 2015 to actually be of quality, I can actually give them praise for that. But
not sure about that one. But like when you start having like 50 people working on a game,
I don't know exactly how many people are
I mean,
there working.
I
I've seen that it was
honestly
a lot.
believe they really didn't care about graphics that much as long
No.
as it was passable.
You know, it's kind of hard to see all the graphics when the whole idea of the game is just dark.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And also, it's like a I don't know 13-year-old engine or something like that. So or even more.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think that's an.
it's-
That's
I could
that's
also give it props that sometimes splashes of color come in, and you can actually see some like difference. And as I said before, some like old moments, like oh look, this kind of looks cool.
also the whole engine thing. I don't think that's something to give an excuse, because that's literally the excuse that Bethesda has for their engine in terms of Fallout.
Yeah.
I was about to say the Bethesda skills.
Compare Bethesda with frictional games. Like Bethesda is such a big company, and these guys are like a
It's
small
the
indie
same
company, like-
mentality.
No, it's not really. I mean,
It is, but one is excusable, the other one. But anyway, we're not here to
Look,
talk.
one tries to portray itself as the bringer of content and of good quality and whatever, and then you get a messy fucking mess of a game, which is Bethesda.
Let's
And
keep
the other
that
one's like, look, we've made this game. It's got a cool story. Graphics
Enjoy
are
it.
are just like the wheels that carry you there. You don't really care if there's mud on them.
Again,
You
the
just
whole
can't-
thing
there's
is
no
just
mud on your
dark, kind of
shoes.
hard to notice it.
Somebody
It's a
damn
horror
fucking
game, man.
oil.
It gotta be dark.
Oh yeah, we'll get into the dark. Or should I keep the darkness thing to the game design gameplay, or should I?
Yeah, it's more part of the gameplay. If we want, we can move on to that. Does
Uh,
anyone else have any
or
good
should we
opinions on
talk a bit
graphics?
about how the atmosphere changes from the early game to the mid game to the end?
But I don't have any more to ask specifically. I enjoyed the visuals. They're okay. Yeah, I noticed some places where it's kind of like in the airplane. You look out the window and you don't see anything. It's like, well, not in the cutscene, but afterwards, after you crash.
I think there's just a way to,
But yeah.
I don't know, load things. I don't know.
But I thought it was okay. I really didn't have any issues since I'm not much of a graphics elitist or anything. Not saying that you guys are, but just.
No, I'm trying to at least make some remarks regarding it since we have a section about it.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Stefan, you have anything else to add?
Nope, everything that should have been said was said. So
Okay, Eddie?
I already gave my piece on the matter.
Alright, well, we can move on then. Now to the meat and potatoes, to, gameplay. Who wants to start?
Let me get my gloves off.
Hey, Eddie,
Yes.
we'll just take it slow.
Like,
I'll
put
just
the metal
take
bat
it
down.
slow, and you can
no.
bring in the
No.
chainsaw.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm
Put-
gonna be the mortars at the back. I'm ready to fire. Put me in, coach.
Put it on
Yeah.
standby.
All right, so let me make this and say this at the end before anyone else gets to say it. The idea that you get a jump scare if you get low on health is
my God.
stupid.
Yes.
It's not the health. It's not the health. It's the fear factor.
Yeah.
The longer you stay in the dark, the more likely it is a PNG
You
will
don't
jump.
have health, it's just the fear factor.
And yes,
Okay,
I
so-
100% agree with you because I find it a cheap tactic to remind you that you're playing a horror game.
Yes.
And it is used like that. Why do I say this? Because about 70% of the game is not scary. And this is my biggest gripe.
yes.
The only times I actually felt tension in the game was where you're at, Fane, the fort, when you have to find the wheels for the cannon and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that part was masterfully done. I loved it.
Ah,
Up until then, I was
that's
look-
really tough because I couldn't handle the
so,
pressure.
right up to that point, I was a bit lukewarm to the game. I was like, okay, interesting premise, plane
Yes.
crash, whatever. Okay, nothing really scary happens. I went into the first cave of the game and thought, okay, so this is gonna be like the movie Descent. Most of the game will be in a cave, and I'm gonna be hunted down by Wendigos or whatever. Then
close
I
enough.
reached the fort. I was like, okay, this is a fort, this is nice. Nothing actually scary happened up till now. And then I entered that first area where the quartermaster room is.
Yes.
And the moment I entered, I thought, okay, this is the Amnesia I remember, this is the Amnesia I love, let's do this. And I was terrified from that entire space. And the experiences were different because I talked to you guys separately. And for example, Chris, when you were streaming the game, you missed a few, I'm not gonna call them jump scares because they weren't really jump scares, but environmental stuff regarding the enemy.
For example,
At
the
one
canister.
point, I was walking around trying to find a wheel for the cannon, and I saw at the end of the hallway that creepy motherfucker looking at me. And when I saw him, he ducked out of vision. I was like, oh fuck, I have to go there, don't I?
Damn.
You never saw that.
No,
Another thing was I saw a body somewhere after the cannon had destroyed the floor, I went to check on the body, and the body was right next to one of the holes those creepers use in order to get around. Guess what? I approach the body, the ghoul comes out, picks the body up, takes it inside the hole. I don't really see the ghoul, but I'm like, oh shit, fuck. But you didn't see that. So the experience is varied, and I appreciate that from them. Here's the problem. That's only 30% of the game. The other 70% is spent in the other realm where nothing happened. You just solve puzzles.
I mean, there is a creature there. I remember seeing something.
Yes, there is a creature, and I'm gonna get to that too, because the gloves are off, boys. Like, I'm going full ham on this motherfucker, because I did not like what they did with the story and the pacing of the game. The fact that in the first 15 minutes you get into the other realm, when in the original Amnesia, you have no clue what's happening. You're not sure if Alexander is like Frankenstein and the monsters are his creation, which they are, but you're not really sure what's happening, why everything is happening. In this one, there's another realm. Whatever is happening is because of this other realm. Have fun with it. They play their cards too early. They don't build up to it. That monster you were referring to, Chris, yes, it's referenced at the beginning of the game, then it's never referenced again until it appears towards the end. Like, what the hell? There is no build up to it. In the original one, the second monster you encounter, you actually hear it throughout the game. You hear its moan. You have in the jail cell, you hear it. You never see it, you hear it. And you're like, what the hell is that? Because that doesn't sound like the original monsters. And then you find it in the sewers. And no, actually you encounter it in the morgue. And you're like, what the hell is that? Help me, Jesus. Here, there's a monster that glows in the dark. Watch out for it. 4 hours later, here's the monster that glows in the dark. Have fun with it. Like, what the hell was that?
Okay,
so... rant done. Your turn, guys.
Alright, so here's the thing. I also agree with that, because the starting bit was like interesting. It felt good. The atmosphere for it was like oppressive in some parts. You also were getting used to the mechanics of the dark and...
Wait, you're referring to the fort?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And like, you're also introduced to the monster for the first time, and for me, my experience was, I started shaking and being afraid, but I couldn't see the monster. It was somewhere at the end of a hallway, and I just saw like part of a shadow move, and everything just like turned maximum fear, and I just literally turned around and ran around the corner. It was like,
yes, that's what they're best at. They know how to frighten you without showing you the monster. That's what made the original Amnesia such a great game. Before you actually saw the monster, you heard it. You were scared. The environment made you terrified. In this one, the fort was perfectly made, and after the fort, for the most part, it was downhill from there. A lot of cheap scares. A lot of scares that actually reminded me of Outlast 1. Like parts where, this is the monster for this area. Just avoid him, do the stuff, get out of here. Yeah, not really what I was expecting from an Amnesia game, to be honest.
Yeah, I felt like after a while, like I could tell when I was in danger and when I wasn't. Like I could tell when I could just run around and not give a damn about anything, just have the flashlight on, not turn any torches around, like one every.
We can talk about that in talking about sound, but do go on.
Okay. Yeah, it's not only about sound, but like you can tell when there's supposed to be a monster around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can tell that there's like hiding spots. There's like what's it called? Places you can run through and stuff. Sometimes it fakes you out. In the Fort, I got faked out because I thought I did a certain puzzle, and a room got messed up, and I saw like crawl spaces and stuff, and I was like, oh shit, they're gonna introduce the monster on me. I gotta have to hide and avoid him. But I was like expecting, and I kept that expectation, like that anticipation of something may happen, stuff may go down, and I kept that throughout the entire fort, and I was like expecting something, and I could get scared by the most stupid of stuff, like just
same.
Oh look, a bird flew in front of me. I'm like,
like for example.
Oh, you mean the bird from the cannon, from the tank?
Yep.
Yeah. That scared me more than the monster.
To ride off what Chobo just said, I was also in the fort, and I was so terrified by the atmosphere that at one point I backed into a corner because of the engine's physics. I broke a pot with my leg, and I was like, what the hell was that?
That happened a few times, then I panicked.
And that's what makes this that's what makes the fourth such a great experience for a horror game. But then you get to the other shit. Like, for example, I don't know how far on you guys are. I know Dan finished the game.
Yeah.
There's a certain part in the game where they basically just throw the monsters, not singular, plural, in your face in a room where they are, quote unquote, sleeping.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
what made the first Amnesia so great was if you looked at the monster, you got scared. Well, not scared, but you got insane. Your sanity would drop, everything like that. So they were encouraging you through mechanics not to look at the monster, because the more you see of the monster, the less scary it becomes. In this one, they throw you in a room with all of them. You see them, they're not that scary anyway. And what's the point? I actually started being desensitized to the monster after that. I was like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Especially once we're gonna get to the story where... yeah, we'll get to that, because again, gripes on gripes. I really wanted to love the game, but it's kind of a disappointment. So gloves are off.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, you know what I hate? The matches.
You know what really grinds my gears?
The matches. I appreciate the mechanic. I appreciate the visuals with the matches. That shows how much I have. What I hate about it is if you're in a tense situation, you tend to run. If you don't have lamp oil, you have to use matches. If you run, you burn through the matches a lot faster.
Yeah, instantly.
Actually,
at some point,
there's also another thing that can happen when you're moving. The match can be put out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It burns out faster.
No, it doesn't burn out. I've seen how much a match can like burn. And
So
I've had
what I'm
a
trying
match
to say,
that I just lit. Hold on, let me
Yeah.
finish this. So I had a match that I just lit, and I started walking, and the match just went poof.
I think that's a
immediately
script thing.
afterwards. It could be a
Some wins.
scripted
You
thing,
can
but it
feel
also
wins
feels
pretty
cheap.
Yeah,
So-
it is cheap. So, throughout my entire experience, I didn't feel the panic of, oh my god, I just ran out of a slice source. No. I was angry because I need to find the freaking matches so the fear doesn't start to creep in. And
Alright,
then...
Sorry, go on.
No, by all means, I can continue.
No, I just wanted to jump in and say I'm actually gonna defend the mechanics of the matches, because I actually think it's an improvement on tinder boxes. Because first off, one match can light about, let's say, an entire room
Yes,
worth of
it
life
can.
source.
No, I'm trying
Yeah.
to say...
And I
it's
don't
more...
think they were designed for you to actually hold them while you're running. That's why they burn out the more you move from where
Yes,
you lit
I
them
know,
up.
you're using the lamp. Speaking of the lamp, I miss the old lamp because this one burns a lot faster.
Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. What they did with the light and the way you have to juggle, I feel like it's an improvement from the original
Yes,
game.
the game
Yeah, I
actually...
prefer it.
Midway...
I actually like what they did here, and trust me, this is gonna be, I think, the last time I'm gonna defend this game. But they did a good job with the matches.
Yeah, I
in my-
didn't like it because
Yeah.
I didn't feel scared because I ran out of matches. I felt frustrated because I need to go and search for the goddamn where it's darkness and
Yeah, I
fuck
know.
this.
This might be just a different strokes for different folks. Because I know
Yes.
Chris was very terrified when he would run out of matches. I don't
Yes.
think he felt frustrated.
When you first, for example, in the beginning, in the caves, that's where I felt that was more evident because I'm not the most skilled at this, and I tend to wander off and this is the wrong way, and I tend to burn through those a lot faster. And it went to the point where I need to make a dash for it, hoping that the next area is lit. Otherwise, I'm gonna have the fear factor creeping in.
And you have the nasty alien man popping
Yes.
in.
Also,
If you
here's
learn
my gripe. Here's my gripe with that one. My gripe with the matches is that you can't have more than 10.
yes, the limitation. I also believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I also think the limitation is a bit steep,
Or
but
15 maybe.
It
Ah,
makes no sense from any point of view. You can carry 10 matches in your pocket and they'll be okay.
Yes. I don't know. I
I
had
think
this.
it was a balance thing, because if you were able to, there are a lot of matches scattered throughout the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
you
the
could
game
pick up-
supplies with a lot.
Yeah, so if you were able to carry all of them, at one point you'd run into the issue Amnesia Dark Descent have, where I remember on my second playthrough, I had about 30 or 40 tinder boxes. Like at that point, I could have lit up any room I wanted and not give
Could
a
just
flying
set
shit.
fire the entire castle with just
So I'm
that
pretty sure
match.
that's why they give you this limitation, because they wanted you to feel like in a Resident Evil game where you had to manage resources,
Yeah.
Okay,
or a Silent Hill game. I think this was their philosophy on this mechanic.
If that was their
I think
philosophy, they kind of did a bad job of it because I almost always had like max matches,
And there you
and
go.
at
No
some
problem.
point, the game throws so much lamp oil at you if you just look for it a little. Like,
except for the
you
pack
don't
where
run
you
out of
don't
it.
have lamp. You have lamp oil, but you don't have the lamp.
What? You get the lamp pretty early on.
Yeah, you have,
Yeah.
but there's a point where it takes it away.
I don't remember that. Well, I didn't finish the game yet, so.
Yes, it takes the lamp at the near the ending.
Oh, okay.
I think I struggled at the beginning with the resource management just a little bit. Then I learned to, okay, I need to pace myself. I need to look, okay, I see a hallway. I bring my lamp up for a few seconds. I check everything out, put it down, light a match. I saw where the light spots or torches or whatever they are. So, just...
Yeah, that was basically my philosophy too. And I didn't really have an issue with the matches nor the lamp oil.
Okay, I have
Same
two
thought.
more things that I need to speak of.
Mhm.
Well, crawling, you now can reduce the visibility for the monster. There is.
Crawl, I think you can crouch. Did I miss an entire?
Yes, if you
entire
hold-
You can not crawl. You can crouch, and then when
Yeah.
you're crouched, if you still hold the crouch button, you can actually curl up into like a ball, but you can't
you go
move.
to fetal
No,
position.
you go soldier style on the belly. That's how you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
from what I understand, you're not supposed to be able to move into that. So if
you cannot move with that. It's made just so you can reduce the visibility for the monster. I actually had a moment where that bugged out the monster because it was literally right in front of me. He tried to swing at me, but he didn't connect, and he just gave up like 2 minutes later. And I kept having the fear factor growing and growing. That's
And
actually
with that,
tense, but at the same
only
time, this is the same with what you did with the pod where you accidentally broke it. I think the game mechanics made it a bit more terrifying than what it actually is.
All right. We're talking gameplay. Let's talk about the jump scares, the cheap ones. I mean,
oh boy,
and the fear mechanic.
I
Yeah,
have a story
yes,
about that. So when I was at the fort, I was like getting the pieces to make the elevator work. And since I walked around the whole freaking floor, I lit up like almost every
Square
Like-
inch.
yeah, I almost I lit every light there, almost. At least on my to my way to the elevator. So I picked up the part from the arbalist or whatever it was, and I started running towards the elevator. And then the little monster was crawling in front of me, whatever. And I kind of and because of the music and whatever and my experience with scary games, I like Alt F4.
Okay, but I wanted to talk about the cheap jump scares. That was
Wait. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
So when I load into the game, like not even 2 seconds in my loading, it saved like right there when I saw the monster. I don't know if it bugged or something like that, but when I loaded in, like the freaking mask started flashing in front of my eyes, like to scare me, like.
I loaded it.
Yeah, like I barely saw the monster like 1 second, and like the flash was like happening instantly.
Oh, man.
For some reason.
Yeah, I really don't like that mechanic. I feel like it's a cheap tactic just to remind you
Yes.
that you're playing a scary game.
And it's
It-
supposed to be
Five Nights
story
at Freddy's,
related.
whatever.
It's supposed to be story related, that whole thing with
I
flashing.
mean, sure, but you can tell that they wanted it to be a jump scare. If it was story related, it won't go every
Again,
time.
Again, that That's because the game is relying on the whole animalistic thing of making big noise suddenly and you just have to shit. That's why I don't play horror games with the fucking headphones on, because it annoys me.
No, I get that. Like,
I can get it.
that's why I also hate it. So the first time it happened, I was like, okay, a jump scare. Sure, you got me, game. Good job.
After a while,
When it happened for the 15th time, I was like, okay, game, I get it. Nothing's happening, but you have to remind me that I should be scared. How about doing that with the environment, which aren't really that scary most of the time?
except for
Like,
that
after
fucking
the fourth,
eagle.
it's just downhill for scary environments, in my
That
opinion.
eagle, like you see it the first time at the beginning of the game, you're like, what the hell is that? Then you see it in the fourth, and I shut my pants.
No,
for a
you
second.
usually see it, especially if your fear factor is very high. You start just continuous.
No, I was talking about that eagle that you see.
Oh, the eagle boy. Oh, yeah, I know the eagle. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's used
so-
in one jump scare, I think, with the tank. He flies out.
Yeah.
Of,
Yes, that one.
I mean, I didn't really care for that. I was like, oh, okay. It's a
That
it's a
kind of
fake
works
out.
and
That's what
flows
it's
better.
called. No, that's a fake out. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
That's basically the pipe from the first Dead Space game.
It's used a lot, even in horror movies, like the usual. Oh, this scene is tense, and then suddenly jump scare hand, and you turn around it, and it's somebody, a friend of the protagonist or something, being
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh, hey, are you okay?" That's a fake out. I
I
don't really have
believe-
anything against those if they're used sparingly. In Amnesia, it was only used once, but you had the PNG Mama Goddess thing just pop out every now and then.
Oh man, I can't wait to start to this story because of that.
Well,
Well, have you all said your thoughts?
I still have something to say.
Game
Uh,
Yes, this game. It's actually mechanic. The baby.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know. Baby is weird. I know you can like pet, like put your hands on
It's
your
the baby.
belly and check the baby, and when it kicks, you can like reduce your
Fear factor.
insanity buildup or fear buildup.
Yes.
It's basically a kind of a heal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
I
a
can
free
understand.
heal most
it's a
of the
portal.
time.
Women are OP in the
Women OP confirmed.
Oh, okay,
poor guy-
Stefan, stay.
the poor guy in Dark Descent couldn't like lower his insanity by himself, and she just like puts her
No,
hand
no,
on his
he
belly.
could.
could,
He had to
he
solve puzzles, though.
Yes.
He had to what?
Solve puzzles. Whenever you solve the puzzle for the area, it would bump your sanity up a bit.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
no, but that's not what I mean. Like actively, like on the spot, like with the press of a button. He couldn't do that.
Well, I think that was
I
intentional.
can get pregnant, so of course.
Yeah,
I think I was intentional just so. What I didn't like it was because it was there were certain moments where the baby was just like, "Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here." We just shut the fuck up.
I mean, that's what babies do, man. What the hell?
Again, I don't have a womb. I don't. I mean, I'm fat, but I don't think I'm pregnant.
Babies?
No, wait. I'm pretty sure the child that you're carrying in your womb in the game is scripted that once you reach a certain fear factor,
It
it
is.
kicks, so it can give you a chance not to be fearful.
Yes, it actually is because I actually tested it in the maze.
I don't think I've reached a maze yet.
No, the maze is the one where you have to fix pressure plates so it actually opens up.
Yeah, I didn't reach that part. I'm
Yeah,
still in the-
so it's the part where so it's actually related to another thing that I don't like, and it's actually part of the game design: scripted events. As in, you get to the maze, there's a monster in it. Okay, so I had a bit of a analogy since before you entered that place, you had like a Greco-Roman pantheon underground, and I said, okay, it's a maze, so I guess it's something like the Minotaur maze where there's a monster. Okay, that's cool. Okay. However, the maze is you have to press some pressure plates. God damn it. Get my point.
Damn it.
Yes, my tongue.
Pressure
Plates.
Pressure plates again.
There you go.
And
I guess somebody's let the pressure get to him. Ah. That's all, folks. Good
Yes.
night.
Yeah. So
Anyway, go on then.
after you press those plates, the area locks or opens. There's a scripted event where everything locks up except for a one path forward, and at the end is the monster, and it just starts sprinting to you just so you can get caught. Yeah. What the fuck, game?
And your point is?
I hate scripted events, especially just so you can get a cheap jump scare.
I mean, there's a bunch of scripted events whenever you do a lot of things like that. That's game
Yes,
stuff.
but
normal game stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just like the cutscene for the next level. It's like just a hidden loading screen. Not even that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
reminds me of the first Outlast when at the beginning of the game, after all the setup, the monster, well, the first monster of that game, comes, picks you up, calls you a little pig, and then throws you off of the window in the lobby area.
Like-
I don't know if you guys played that, but
Yeah,
that-
I didn't play it.
I know what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
like, for example, the first time before you get the amulet, she just like sees something really weird in the other dimension, and everything goes black, and then you see some
You see some weird crawly shit on her hand.
yeah, that's
some
story
flashes.
related. So
Yes.
if we're done with mechanics, we can go to the story.
I don't know.
I'm just saying that there are certain scripted events that made me like, oh, I'm trying to not get scared, or at least I'm trying to avoid the monster. The game puts the monster in front of you.
Offers a challenge.
Yeah,
I guess.
but that's something that's usually utilized in a lot of games, even horror games.
Yeah,
Like
but
you-
unfortunately, that's the kind of thing that I don't like because it forces a fear factor for those who actually are more scared or terrified.
I mean, even the original Amnesia had two scripted moments with the monsters, one in the jail cells and one when you were escaping, I think, the sewers or something. Can't really remember what the
I
name
don't
of the
remember. I
area
haven't replayed the whole The Dark Descent just so I can see this. So.
was. Oh no, but a lot of horror games and a lot of games actually usually have this scripted thing just to move the story along. So
Yes,
I
it was-
don't think it hurts anybody. It's just in the theme of the
No,
game.
but it helped to the whole, like you said, after a while you get desensitized from the monster. I think that was the point where I
But
was
yeah,
like,
but that's not the problem with the scripted event. That's a problem with the game itself because it showed the monster way too many times, and you basically get used to it.
Yeah.
They could have really danced around that a little bit more, but they didn't.
honestly, I didn't see the monster that well. I mean, I got cut like once before that, and I didn't see it properly. And yeah, that actually
Me
made
neither, until that one room with the sleeping monsters. That's when I actually got a good look at a lot, like the same model over and over again.
All right, guys. Well, I think we can move on now.
Let's just give the game a chance to be like to get some praises now.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it
Just
some
give
and
praise.
we're heading into sound
And-
design.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah,
to
I'll
sound
give it-
design and music because frictional games kind of does that good.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
kind of does it good.
Yeah,
Can
and
I go
Sound
first?
design.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the big reasons I couldn't continue anymore was because of the atmosphere that the music was creating and all the bits and pieces of the sound. So it was really that I think more than the sudden glimpse of the monster, like the
skittering, yeah, I know.
the sound, the skittering, the whispers were really freaking me out, and like for example when you went into a new dark room that you never explored before and you had that in your headphones all the time, it was really terrifying, I should say, and yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10 for that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm gonna piggyback off of this and say, yeah, the sound design and the OST is usually chef's kiss when it comes to frictional games. The only double-edged sword part about it is sometimes it can tell you when you're safe, and for a horror game that's kind of a
it's
no-go.
pretty clear. Like
Even in the first game, the safe havens had different music, and then when you went into the branching areas, you knew, okay, shit's gonna go down now because the music changed. But in the safe havens, nothing was gonna happen because the music was all like choiry and in a major scale. Oh,
Yeah, you
thing.
felt pretty calm. You felt peaceful. Okay, this is fine. This is where I can relax.
Even in the fort, I think there's one room where
There's-
when you enter,
I think
the
there's
music
two.
suddenly changes and you know, okay, this is a safe room right here.
You even have
Yeah,
to open the door
there's
just to make you
still
safe.
rooms like that in the fort. I found 2 rooms like that in the fort, and the moment you enter them and do it, there's just like this small guitar strum that you hear, and it's like just calming and relaxing music.
Yeah, you
afterwards.
feel a wave of relaxation. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm
And
in
you're
Yeah.
like,
Arsenal?
okay, this is clearly safe.
The
You
Arsenal?
got pillows, you got stuff to lay
What?
around.
I'm gonna make one thing clear: this is not a black spot for the game. Like I
No.
love sound design. I'm not gonna belittle the game for this. I've been punching down on the game up till now, but no, the sound
Okay,
design.
it's already dead. Stop.
Okay,
Of course.
can I shit on it?
What? What did you say though?
Can I shit on it though?
On the
The
sound
thing is,
design.
we'll let you at the end.
Okay.
we shut it up. Let's give it some praise. I want to give it some praise from this. I thoroughly enjoyed. Well, I shat my pants, but that's what I'm supposed to do doing a horror game, because the sound was really well designed. I had one moment in the fort, like everybody else had that moment in the fort when you hear the monster skidding around and like you're like, fuck, where do I go now? And then you hear the voices because it's dark and you go crazy. Then I had one moment that stood out where I believe it was when you had to go back into the storage room. Like you went into the arsenal room so you can craft a shell so you can fire it from the tank. You get saltpeter. You need to get saltpeter from the freaking storage room where you got chased before by the fucking monster. And you're like, oh shit, here we go again. And I go in there and I hear this weird squishy sound. Like, I don't know, maybe the ghoul boy was eating something, or just this constant reminder of a squishy sound was every, I don't know, 5 seconds or so. It's freaking me out. It's horrible.
Yeah, I think the basically the end of the quartermaster side was the peak of the game, if I could say that.
The where?
I mean, I didn't.
The end of the quartermaster side
Basically,
of the
the
building.
fort. Like
Yeah.
the entire fort was masterful.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
But like that point where you go and you get like the first encounter with the monster, the first actual encounter with the ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
So like you see him come out of a room, you don't see him, you don't see details, just see this black figure just come out of the room, look at you and just shout and scream at you, and you're like, fuck that. And
Oh,
you just start running and you
scene.
hear him behind
Yeah.
you. And it's cool because then you gotta go back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it happened for you guys, but when I was at the door, so I went back up, grabbed saltpeter,
Mhm.
came back down, was at the door just about to exit, and I just hear
That's because you actually see it. It's on the
You do see it, yeah. You do see it on the scaffolding.
yes.
Like,
When
I
you,
never looked. I just heard that and was like, nope.
no, you can
Yeah,
see it, but it doesn't
I
come
got
through
the
you again.
I took the picture and I knew, okay, I got the item. In true frictional game style, now the monster will come back. So I just sprinted towards the door. When I cut the corner, I see it on the scaffolding and it runs away and I'm like, oh frick, okay, oh shit, get out now! And I was out. But yeah, that was amazing.
Yes.
Well,
Afterwards,
I guess, oh, sorry.
afterwards, everything kind of ends. Like
Yeah,
the
from what
sewer part that comes afterwards is like,
I mean, I still had a nasty moment with the monster there, and I shat my pants as always. I was like,
that's
oh god.
that's when sound design went downhill for me. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of where I saw the Outlast formula just come in and just like wreck everything. Where they put you in a room and it's like hide from the monster. Okay, hide from the monster, and at some point,
that's more gameplay than sound design, though. Like the sound design, for me at least, I felt
bear
like
with me. So it basically gives you a tutorial, which by the way is wrong. I forgot to say about this, and I'm mad about it. But just a little bit of parentheses. It gives you a tutorial of hide from the monster because it can see you, so you don't want it to chase you. And literally the exact next encounter, when it tells you to hide from a monster, it just does, and the character goes, "Oh, it can smell me." So like hiding just became useless.
Well, no, when it says smell you, it can't really pinpoint you, but it
No.
will know what room you're in. They
Yeah,
basically do that just so there's a reason why the monster keeps following you into different rooms and not just patrolling like the monsters from the original game.
Yeah, that's when I got spotted by the monster for the first time, and that just gave me immediate Outlast vibes because everything just shifts, and then there's that chase music.
No, I know what you're saying.
And
But now let's see what Don has to say, because he said he wanted to shit on the sound design.
Okay, I think I overstated that. What I'm trying to say is, at first, like, up until the fort, I was like, okay, I'm going, and I'm like, man, there really isn't music in here. At least I didn't notice the music.
I don't think there was music until the fort.
There wasn't even.
Maybe in the caves a bit.
Not even.
there was like atmospheric sounds for it,
Yes.
and like
Here's the thing.
small like scary inputs.
Here's the
for
thing.
me.
Okay, the chase scene I can understand, but you wanna know what that is? It's just drums. Boom, 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 boom. Because yeah, it's music. It's quote unquote music, chase music, so you can up the tension to drive for the player to fear. The
Really,
only
but I think they did the same thing in the original game, because if I remember correctly, the only time I heard music in The Dark Descent
was
was
the menu.
when the monster was chasing, or when the shadow was chasing you,
Here's the
or
thing.
when you were in a safe haven. You would hear the
Here's the thing. I've looked up the OST just so I can hear it, and I've scrolled through it. The only actual music is the menu.
Well, yeah, like in The Dark Descent.
Actually, Dark Descent had a few more bits
Yeah,
of
as I
music.
said, it had the safe haven soundtrack.
Yeah,
like
but
to-
aside from that, there's only atmospheric music. And while I say it's well made, it's unfortunately something you hear like it's not something special. It's something that you can expect to hear in other horror games, and that didn't make me say that's actually good. No, it was, oh look, another generic type of OST. Yeah, sorry.
I wouldn't really call it generic. I'm just gonna go with the less is more when it comes to horror.
Yeah, but
I really want
what I'm trying to
soundtrack
say
always
is,
boosting in the background, being like, "Oh, you're safe now," or "Oh, this is tense."
yeah, I
Something
agree
that-
with that. Where the game doesn't actually no, that actually says, yeah, you're safe. Yeah, you're gonna be chased. Yeah. As in how the things such as how water feel sounds, rusted thing, how the whole objects interact. Yeah, that is good. That is actually well made. However, in terms of how the actual whole OST is, unfortunately, something that didn't blow me out of the water.
Yeah, the OST is lacking. Well,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
agree on that.
That's what
but
I'm
the
trying to
sound
say.
design-
I'm
awesome.
shitting at it because it's nothing special. And the only actual music is in the menu.
I mean, in the game's defense, I can't really think of any other horror game that has memorable OSTs.
Yeah, I
Sound
feel
design
like it's a
perfect.
horror game.
Most
So
horror games have
Mm.
amazing sound design, but I can't really think.
Yeah, you hear it once, you hear it every time. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, but I think it's a part of the genre. Like, I really can't see Bon Jovi playing in the background.
I'm not
while
expecting Bon
chased
Jovi.
by
I'm
Mr.
trying to
X.
say, look, when you see the fort, like a small tune to signify the area, that would have been actually make the fort even better.
I think I heard something. Maybe I'm
No, there
wrong.
wasn't.
I don't know. I think it will make it very cheesy. Like, you get, let's say you were playing Dark Descent and you saw one of the chambers and then an organ started playing in the background.
Honestly,
I feel like that would make it the whole scene campy.
it would. I'm not gonna lie. But then again,
I mean, it's not.
But then
it's not
again,
Dark Souls game.
like I'm trying to say is that once you hear this type of music or the sound effects, once you hear them, you're basically gonna hear them every other freaking horror game ever. It's not something special, unfortunately. That's why.
Yeah, but again, I think it's just a staple of the genre. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
It's
saying
fun.
I hear the same gun sounds in several video games that have like M16s in them. I think it's just like you can't just change the sound of like wood breaking or people stepping into flesh or something like that, or stuff crawling around.
Plus, if you had a memorable OST always playing in the background, it would kind of defeat the purpose of a good sound design. Because I think that's why they're lacking in the OST areas, because they want you to hear all that good sound design, that
Mm-hmm. All that nasty fucking. Oh,
Again, it's
squishy sounds.
the whole. I would say all the sounds are there and they are right for what they're trying to portray. But okay,
No, I know it's a personal preference, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really see it
again,
as a
I'm not saying this is a subjective thing. I'm not gonna shit too much on it. I'm just saying that I could have expected better. I don't know.
Well, let's hope that in the future some good, I don't know, a game dev will just come out with a horror game and be like, "Yo, I got Queen playing in the background and it worked."
I'm not
Bang.
expecting. Actually, hold the phone. That would actually be interesting, since you have the whole radio thing for story bits. Why not just put some radios scattered about in the normal world, and have static and interfering with certain radios? That would actually be interesting. And
You could have moments where you hear a certain song and then
and
it turns into a weird way, like it turns.
yes, it interacts with the whole alien
I
machinery.
don't think that would add anything to the scare factors or the atmosphere.
Or,
Maybe
for
you
example,
could use it for a story bit where
Yeah, just a story bit, like
Yes.
one, twice.
you just suddenly you hear your radio, you overhear a conversation, I don't know, the doctor and somebody else saying, "Oh, Tassi's still alive. She did this and that," and you're like, "What the hell did I do?" I mean, it's
Or-
pretty obvious what you do because the game doesn't really hide the.
oh, we're gonna get to that. Trust
But
me.
we can actually get to it because I think we talked about everything.
Yeah, let's go to story because. And by the way, this is gonna be spoiler territory. Anybody who doesn't want to be spoiled, just go to this timestamp right here. This is where we finish talking about the story, and then we're going into final thoughts. All right, we good? Starting in 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. This is gonna be spoiler town. Get out, or stick if you don't care about spoilers.
Indeed.
Okay, so
So
I'm
the-
gonna go last because I actually have some points that are gonna go longer than the other ones. So
makes sense.
Well, I'm gonna go first, just like with the gameplay, game design, whatever. I'll come off because I have one huge gripe with the pacing of the story
Alright.
and the fear factor of the pacing. Because, again, I'm gonna say they showed their hand way too early. The fact that you go into the other realm in the first half hour of the game is ludicrous. In the original Amnesia, you only learn about another world. You have bits and pieces throughout the game telling you, something's odd here, like those little memory jugs that you press on, and you have a white background and it goes, "Oh, Alexander, I'm Alexander, whatever, my darling, I'm coming back to you in our realm." And you're like, what the hell is he talking about?
actually,
here-
you see the other world at the beginning in the plane.
Yeah, true. You see it right there, and you're like, but even, let's say they showed you that there as a bit of a, here's a breadcrumb trail, now follow us along. But then 10 minutes later, you're back in there, you're fully inside the realm, and you're like, I was like, at least, the way I was
Instead of breadcrumbs, they give the whole loaf.
there's no escalation to this. You just show me the full hand. Don't. But I think I know why. I think I know why they did this. I don't think they wanted to go the direction of a Dark Descent. I think they wanted to flesh out the world of Dark Descent by giving you a lot of information of the other world, who inhabits it, why they're experimenting on people. I think this was more intended to be a world building game for the Amnesia franchise. That's why I don't want to really hate on the game and its story, because that's how I think, or what I believe they were trying to do with this game. And that's why it's not that scary. That's why most of the game is not really that scary. But you still have a few bits and pieces of fright here and there for, the average Amnesia player like myself. That
They
one.
did say, if I may, they did say about, you immersing yourself rather than blazing.
Yeah, true. That's true. At the beginning, they do say, "Don't play this game to win it. Immerse yourself." But again, I do believe that's because the game is very short, and this is a big, well, not a big minus, but it's, I think, 6 or 7 hours long. It's not a lot.
It took me about 9 hours.
And I'm not gonna say, oh, games today should all be 20 hours plus. No, that's for RPGs or other types of games. But the original Amnesia was longer than this. They could have at least made it as long as the original Amnesia. I believe. Maybe they didn't want to pad out the story. Maybe they wanted just to tell a story, and it took this much for it to be told. We're not gonna pad it. We're not gonna filler it up.
Mhm.
This is the story. This is what you get, and I can respect that. But again, don't show your cards that early. Like a giant fetus floating in the air, really, in the first hour of the game.
Yeah,
I guess.
that was the fucking thing, dude.
Like, what is this Ubisoft levels of bullshittery dream sequences?
About that.
That was so funny, actually.
Oh, there was one thing that I have a small gripe with. Like, when you get that amulet, and after, like, I don't know, a few minutes or something, she's like, okay, I guess I gotta use this amulet to find things. She doesn't find it peculiar or weird. She's like, okay, I'm in another dimension.
Like that,
She's amnesiac.
Another reality that she has to go into.
She's amnesiac. She doesn't know. She needs to find out.
Wait, no, but
Yeah, but where did common sense go, though?
Yeah, that's true.
that's what I'm saying. Common sense go. And she just looks at it. Oh, I guess it's an amulet.
I don't know. I've never been an amnesia.
Like, I get the amnesia angle in the sense of, oh, I'm an amnesiac. I don't know what the shit anything on me is, because I barely know who the fuck I am.
Well, you find
So
it.
No, wait.
Maybe,
That's not really how amnesia works. With amnesiacs, they usually forget who they are, stuff like that. But common sense, that's true. Common sense should still be there. If I was an amnesiac right now, and I wouldn't know my name, if a portal opened next to me, I'd still be like, what the hell is this? Why is this happening?
What the hell is that, man?
Why is my watch glowing? I thought this was a watch, sir. This is an Arby's. Move along.
Sir, are you high?
Yeah, and the other thing is you spend so much time in the other realm, it takes all the mystery out. And again, I think that was the point they were trying to get across. We're gonna build up this world, we're gonna tell you things about it, but at some point, I felt like I was playing an alien game. I was actually expecting Scott Ridley, or whatever her name was.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott to come out of somewhere and give me a shotgun or something. Or for the baby to just burst out of my stomach and be like...
Yeah, but then Ridley Scott will actually sue the game developers.
No, but
For
in all
copyright
seriousness,
infringement.
like, I don't know, the pacing of this story, at least it didn't build up like a true horror story. It works as a sci-fi story, I'll give it that. But I was expecting horror going into this.
This isn't Soma.
Well, no, actually, Soma is actually way more scary than this game was.
It is.
yeah, no,
it is.
Soma is fucking terrifying.
Yes.
It also opens up some discussion about, when are you truly a clone if the other you stays alive? Like, it opens up some really horrific mental thoughts and
Yeah,
mental
that's the kind of thing I actually a bit enjoy about Soma. But then again, I have my own gripes with that game.
That's why Soma works better as a horror game, while this is, in my opinion at least, more of a sci-fi game. At least after the fourth, because after the fourth, there weren't really a lot of places where I actually got scared anymore. A bit tense when that second monster thingy comes out, the Grim Reaper or wherever he
The
is.
fly bit.
Yeah, that was like, I was scared a bit at the beginning, and then I was like, okay, so this is basically the doctor from Outlast, or the butcher from Outlast, or the witch hunters from Outlast 2. Just avoid him and get out. He's just an NPC doing his job. Nothing really to scare me.
Just mind his business.
Stefan, you have something to add?
Nope. You said everything about the story.
Your own ideas, like from the beginning, how much you've played? Did you have like any opinions of it?
I mean, I find it a bit funny when you see the big fetus in the sky, and then she pops out of the dimension. Is like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Damn.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a bit funny, but till the point I played this, it's I don't know. That was my only
Chobo, you
gripe.
got something?
Look, before Dan shits on the story, because I know he wants to do that, I will give it some props. They at least made Salim and Tasi a bit compelling with the whole baby stuff that had happened in the past.
Yeah, I was about to say
All
that.
those loading screens, I was looking at them, I was like, God damn it, this is sad as fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. And then that's a bit of the immersion because you're playing a pregnant woman and you feel like, well, shit. I
Now
got
the
a
problem,
baby too. This
now,
is
the
kinda
problem
different.
I have with the story too is they gave us way too many characters. I can't remember half the cast.
Yeah, me neither.
I would find notes from this important character or the pilot or whatever, and I would be like, who are you again? Like I was basically Chobo Until Dawn. Who this? Whenever something happened.
That's an inside joke, folks.
So Chobo, got something to add?
Not really. I mean, the story kind of drove me forward for a little bit, but then it's
That's
like,
because it's a linear game.
yeah, but like all of these things, like I expected something more when they started talking. When you start, at the beginning when you go into the other world and you
Yep.
start reading the notes that the dead professor has, and you're like, oh shit, so maybe I'm just like somebody that's been stuck in time and I've been sent back in time, but I don't remember myself or something like that. Or I've been prepared forward in time. Like, oh, this is many months after.
There are
You
some
know?
It
there
is
are some notes that specify that in that realm time either stops or
Yeah,
moves
exactly.
way too quickly.
And there's a point in the game where she says, "Oh, why is my belly so big?" She was in like
It's immediately
Third
after
month
you
or
get the
yeah, it's immediately after you exit the
yeah. It's like, oh look, I'm now 4 months pregnant or something.
Yeah.
And then you're actually 6 months.
pass quickly.
And then your water breaks. So, everybody got their piece out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan, you have the floor. Share on it.
Ah, okay. Let's start with the beginning. So, the fact that I'm gonna go out of order a bit. So, the whole thing is that you and your husband go to this place despite the fact that both of them know that Tassi is pregnant.
Well, wait. Counter argument. They went to this place because the husband, at least I think, wanted to get her mind off the previous child and her demise. So it kind of makes sense. I know common sense out the window, but it's a horror story.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, here's the thing. If this game tried to make me empathize with these characters, this revelation that she was pregnant, kind of made me angry. But this is more of a personal thing because I do not empathize with this kind of stupidity, and this
it's not really
remind-
stupid. But it's not like she becomes completely. I don't know. How should I say this?
instead of
She loses
so-
control of herself. Pun
so
intended.
yeah, but
kinda does.
here's the thing. They
No,
go
I get
out-
it. You think that when you're pregnant, you should prioritize the baby.
Yes.
And
Because
But
again,
here's
I'm having a,
the
but
thing.
this is more of a personal thing. I have a problem with these kind of people who they go into journeys that have inherent danger to it.
well, no, wait. Technically, there was nothing dangerous about the expedition at hand. They were just gonna go there. They were anthropologists. They would check things out a bit. They know history, and then they would fly back out. Nobody was gonna expect, Sauron's tower crashing the plane and
Fucking
fucking
I don't
ending.
know. I think
There's
there
a
were multiple.
coming for your ass.
There were multiple parts where they could have just sit in a place, or at least go forward to the village or something, or to the fort, or
Well, you did go to the
I mean,
but
Did
then
see the port? It was really the safest of places.
yeah, there was.
Yeah.
The thing is that
Also, you
did
have
a
to
lo-
remember, they do specify there were those jinns running around, not the ghouls, the jinns that would
that's
attract
different,
people and mesmerize them, and they made a point about that. Not a big one, but they did say there are some jinns around that
There's
they're
some-
gonna attract you or make. And some of them did went crazy. Like Salim went back into the cave. I don't know why he did that, but can't really remember. Maybe there was a note I missed. But I'm pretty sure a jinn or a genie, whatever it's called, lured him back in by mimicking Tassi's voice, maybe.
The idea
Who
is
knows?
that I cannot empathize these characters at all, and that broke the camel's back in terms of character written. And yeah, that
I don't think I can agree with that. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
especially since when she got on the plane, she wasn't like 9 months pregnant. You know
No.
that the realm did that to her.
She even knew that.
She was for a few weeks, I think, or something like that. And you can still do a lot of things even as a pregnant woman. So for me, that's not really that big of a deal, especially since the expedition at hand should not have been dangerous. That just happened to happen because it's a horror game. You have
also
to have stakes.
Tassie had okay, I can understand the fact that she had the mental scars from the first child of what happens to Elise. I get it. But because of that, she literally fucked everybody else. However, that was before I got to the ending, and I was like, even if she trusted the Empress, I don't think she would have
Which you
killed
should
her.
never do in a horror game. To be
Yeah.
honest.
I don't think
Like,
she
never
would have.
trust the spirits.
She would have not held her end of the bargain. She just wanted the child because of
Well-
what the whole memory things told us. Because of the whole disease and what happened to her. She couldn't have a child because of that.
I know that. I read all the notes regarding that.
Yeah, so she wanted the child desperately because she wanted to feel the whole mother thing. But even if she helped them, I don't think she would have held at the end of the bargain and be like, yeah, I'm gonna help you out, you're gonna get healed, you're not gonna be cursed, you're not gonna transform in that thing. Okay. But the fact that they did all that stupid thing,
I mean, I'm pretty sure one can chalk it up to desperation because Tassi was pretty desperate, and when you're desperate, any hand helps. You know, make a deal with the devil.
Okay,
Save your child, so.
so,
I don't know. I felt like I could empathize with them, especially in the beginning. Plus, at the beginning, I didn't know she was pregnant. Once I found that out, I was like, oh, okay. Is this some type of curse? Are you actually pregnant with Salim's child, or were you impregnated by some other outworld creature?
I thought of
If this
that.
is a horror game, I had no fucking clue where the story was gonna go.
If she was actually pregnant with with a different kind of child, that would have actually make it more interesting, honestly.
Oh, well, that's what I thought.
It wasn't, unfortunately.
Well,
Now,
what can you?
again, I cannot empathize at all. And also, in terms of getting immersed, for me to get immersed, I need to basically have like a blank slate and actually feel the whole thing. But unfortunately, even with Daniel in the first game, you know, same name, I think I couldn't be able to actually relate to the whole things. Actually, I can relate a bit more with Daniel from the Dark Descent a lot better than with Tassi.
Yeah, because you also paint the lines, cut the man, paint the lines, cut the man. If anybody gets that reference.
Yes.
Although okay.
Yes, so that's the thing. I cannot immerse myself. Oh yeah, Tassi has some moments that she could only have because of her mental scarring with the whole motherly thing. I get it. Yes, I agree with the fact that those were some sad moments with what happened with the loading screens, with what happened to Elise. I agree with that. Honestly, the whole thing was just sad. And
I mean, I think that's the point.
I also think a big theme of the game was motherly love or something. Or
it was. It
along
actually
those
is. It was more evident near the end.
Well, wasn't the queen also somewhat of a, you know,
Well, no, that's what Dan was saying. That queen from the other realm couldn't have children of her own. So, from what he's saying, because I haven't finished the game yet, she wanted Tassi's child, just so
Yes,
she can be
she
a mother.
wanted to help them out because because the child that Tassi was having, Amari, that was the child's name that she decided to keep. Salim's mothers had the same name. So, when they flew near the place where she was, or at least in the proximity where she entered, the Empress knew that the child, despite of being a few weeks old, she sensed that the whole disease that her first child at least had was something because of Tassi. And
Oh, you mean it was hereditary? So this
Yes.
child will also have the same disease?
yes, it was actually that. And she helped them in the idea that she would gain the child by keeping it in the realm so it doesn't get affected by the whole disease. Again, I wouldn't think that she would have held the end of the bargain in terms of helping them escape the curse.
But
And
you said you finished the game, so did she uphold her end of the bargain or not?
so there are, technically speaking, 3 endings.
Oh, great. Okay.
So, one of them is you agree with the Empress and you leave the child.
Fair enough.
She then turns you into a monster.
Unfair, but okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but that's basically, she turns you into a monster after refusing the first time.
Oh, so wait, one ending you agree, she keeps the child, you walk. Another ending, you disagree, she turns you into a monster and keeps the child.
No. You agree with her. You step outside. She amplifies the curse and turns you a monster, a harvester.
Okay, but that's another ending. So
That's
those
one.
are-
That's one.
It's the same
Oh,
ending.
that's just one ending. Okay, so that's
Let
kinda
me finish. Another one is the other two you disagree with them. You take the child and you run to a teleporter and you get back to Paris. That's it.
So that's the good ending.
Happy ending.
Well, that's
There's-
not actually a good ending because if the child has the same disease as your first child, it's gonna die.
Also,
she's gonna
you
die.
don't know if you actually escape the curse, so you don't know if you turn to a harvester.
Okay. They're called harvesters, okay.
Yeah, that's because they are called harvesters from what I understand, from what I gather. Because when you save one of the crewmates, he attacks you, and you, because of the fear and anger, you transform and you kill him, and your veins, while transformed, are glowing blue with that substance, the Vitae, I believe it's called. And you go into the machine and extracts it from you, so you can actually have those jars that you have to use to power up. That's why they're called harvesters, from what I understand.
Yep.
So, the third ending, you
what's the
refuse
third
her, and you actually use an injector you find near the end with the red substance that is basically the whole fleshy thing, the shadow.
Oh, shadow, okay.
Yes, you use the shadow to destroy the whole queen's chamber, because the queen is like some kind of organ. It's a huge organism, basically, and you use to destroy it. And you don't escape. You just see the tower get destroyed at the end, and that's it. Those are the 3 endings.
Man, they really went full on sci-fi with this one.
Yeah,
I-
so in terms of how good it is, the only good one is when you refuse her and you leave to Paris.
Again,
But
I don't think that's the best ending.
It
I actually
isn't.
think that's the worst one.
None of them felt like they were the good end. None of them.
In my opinion, the one where you leave the child so it survives in that realm, admittedly, but it survives and then you turn into a monster, to me that's the best ending.
I mean, it could. I don't know. It's this.
Man, I
I
guess
mean,
your husband's already
Here's the
dead.
thing, because what
The
you
other
see.
options are basically you destroy the queen and you die yourself, I assume. I don't think... Do you walk away from the shadow?
No, the shot. Here's the thing with the shadow. The shadow. I don't remember if it's actually explained in the first game, but the shadow appears because it's the guardian of the orb.
Yes, that's one of the big points of the first game.
Yeah. So the shadow. I don't believe you escape. I mean, at some point you lose the orb, so the shadow doesn't actually chase you out at all.
But do you survive? That's what I'm asking. In the ending where you kill the queen.
Where you killed? No, you don't know.
Okay.
You don't know because you just see it pans out in the distance, and the tower gets destroyed, and you
so
see
you're
like
right.
a sarcophagus that is powered up with the whole energy, and you see it shut down. That's the whole thing.
Oh, I'm just gonna go with you die in that one too, and the baby dies also.
Yes.
And then you have the option where, you go to Paris with your child, but your child has your disease, it's gonna die.
And you
You're
don't know
also
if you're gonna transform.
It's gonna turn into a harvester and start killing people in Paris.
Yes.
I don't think that's the good ending. So for me, the one where the child survives and you turn into a harvester in that other realm, that's the perfect ending.
I mean, as good as you can get in a horror game, I suppose.
Yes.
Out of the three options, yes, I'm gonna go with that one.
Also, this game has too much platforming. I'm saying it for someone who plays platformers.
I think I only encountered one. Well, so far, whatever. 1, 2, 3, maybe.
Off the top of my head, there's the one in the sewers.
Yeah.
There's one with the grenade room.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. Off the top of my head, those are the ones I remember.
And the elevator a little bit.
Oh yeah, well,
Not quite
that
for me, but you still need to jump off because.
not if you put 3 planks on the elevator, then you make it a full elevator.
Well, I put only one.
Yes.
Well, that's your problem.
So yeah.
See that me?
So yeah, I believe also there's a point. I have to agree with you. They shown the dark dimension a bit too early, and you want to know? There's actually a point where I actually believe would have been the perfect place to introduce the other world, and that was when you leave the fort, and after the whole incident with chasing underwater, and you finally see the smoke to go to the village. Now, if you ignore the cave that is actually there, like a portal, and try to go to the smoke, there's quicksand, and the quicksand puts you in such a way that you fall down through a portal and you progress the story. I say that would have been the perfect way to actually introduce it fully, the dark dimension. Because the first time when I went there, and it was the whole dark part, I literally just stuck to the walls and just progressed with the compass, and I was like, where the fuck am I going? Where the fuck am I going? It was not scary, it was just annoying.
Alright. Stefan, Jobo, Chris, anything you'd like to add to the story bits?
I already said my speech.
Yeah, no, I said my thoughts already.
I mean,
Right, well-
no, I don't think so. I
I
mean,
think we've covered, unless you have something else to add about this topic done.
Yeah, unfortunately the whole story didn't click me, and at the end I felt more frustration and anger towards all the story and the characters, and compared to the first one, and I actually tried to not compare it to the first one, but at least in terms of quality, but I was like, man, the first game had it better, a lot
I mean,
better.
I think that's a general consensus, but in this group at least.
Yeah, I actually seen some reviews after I finished the game, so I can see what the other people said, and unfortunately, it kind of mirrored some of the points that I tried to say. So,
Alright, well, I do believe that would count as your final thoughts on the game, a conclusion of sorts.
I actually have some questions as my final thoughts that I would actually like to read to all of you, so we can actually have some answers to this, if I may.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, in your opinion, honestly, do you believe this is a bad horror game?
Yes,
What? Yeah, I did.
strictly as a horror game. If it would count as a sci-fi game, I think it would be very good.
No, I don't think it's a bad game.
No, not a bad game, a bad horror game.
Well, since I don't really play horror games, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay,
well,
so
I think it was, a horror game. I mean, only the part where I got to the fort is super fucking horror.
Well, that's the thing. You got to the best part in the first hour of the game.
Maybe I should leave it there, right?
Actually, that's the halfway mark. That's just saying.
It's like watching Supernatural for the first 5 seasons. It's all downhill from there.
Then, like,
And they have 15 seasons now. So,
Is this Game of Thrones?
up to you.
no, Game of Thrones, don't open that can of worms. We
Sorry.
don't want that.
Sorry, I didn't want to.
Around these parts for now. We'll dive into Game of Thrones maybe someday.
Yeah.
When we want to die and be cancelled.
Okay.
But then,
Anyway, go on to your next question.
Yeah, so my answer to this would be I don't play a lot of horror games. There are actually a few of them that I enjoyed because those kind of games that actually stuck with me, and even till this day if I try to remember it, I actually shudder. But this game is not a bad horror game. I mean, it had some moments. The atmosphere was okay at certain parts. They had some general moments that actually made my blood pressure raise. But I actually have a contender for worst game, and that is the Blair Witch game.
I mean,
that's why we didn't talk about that one.
yeah.
Yeah, but if I have to compare it to that, yeah, it's not a bad horror game because, yeah.
No, if I were to compare it to a lot of horror games that came out recently, it's a good horror game.
Yeah.
It has its bits.
Yeah,
But
that's the general idea of the whole question.
Standalone horror
So-
game, especially when I compare it to other games from frictional games, it's
Yeah,
not
so
that. good of a horror
Next
game.
question. Is it comparable to The Dark Descent? How do you think it is?
Worse.
Worse.
Well, not really worse. Like, oh, I'm just gonna cut and dry say worse, but they didn't take the Dark Descent and build upon it. They build upon the world of it, which is great, because they really fleshed out the other world and all that stuff. There are very few questions unanswered, but here's the problem. This should be a horror game, and sometimes horror is better when you have unanswered questions.
Yeah,
They
unfortunately.
answered a lot of questions from the first game with this one. And they really didn't build upon mechanics from the first one. Aside from the matches, which I still stand is a better mechanic for the tinderboxes. Not a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't really explore a lot of what made the first one so good.
Okay, Chris. Do you
Oh, not. Can I say? I did play a little bit of Dark Descent, but I didn't play the whole game. I don't remember much of it, so can't really offer an opinion there.
think? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
same.
No. Again, my answer to this is no. Dark Descent is far better. Written both story and characters.
Agreed.
Okay, regarding this, are the characters good?
I'll say they're compelling. They're not the best. If I compare it to the Dark Descent, I actually prefer Daniel as a character and a main protagonist. He just felt more compelling from the get-go with the whole letter to yourself, hey, you have to go and kill Alexander. Why? That really sets up the intrigue. In this one, the plane crashed, you saw somewhat why it crashed because you saw Sauron's tower. The only question I had was, did I already go through this? Because, it's the whole thing, oh, Tassi was with us, but I'm Tassi, and I just arrived here, so why was I back at the plane? But that really wasn't that compelling of a reason for me to give a shit.
It's basically
Why?
New Game Plus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it felt like a new game plus. I was expecting Red Phantoms to be around.
Everybody else?
No.
Yeah, I thought it was. Tassi was compelling enough character. I could empathize with certain bits of her. The rest I couldn't give two shits about because they weren't really, present there. I mean, Tassim, not Tassim. Wait, Tassim was the husband, right? Yeah. Tells you how much attention I paid.
This is why you should listen to us, folks, because we know the characters. And we are astute people.
4 out of 5.
Trust me, bro. I have a diploma on bullshittery. Trust me, bro.
You do have a diploma in bullshit, you're good at that. Enough.
I actually have 2 diplomas in bullshittery. But
Yeah.
that's a story for another time. Go
Yes. So my answer is no. I don't empathize at all with the characters. I dislike their decisions, and because of that, their decisions actually made me furious at certain points.
Yeah,
So-
you explained that before.
How do you believe how was the atmosphere?
That's good.
on. It was good, especially the fort again. The fort could have been an entire game by itself. If the fort was a
Lord-
DLC, it would be perfect.
You want to know? Okay, to answer that, you want to know a game that was just about the fort? It's called Amnesia Dark Descent.
That was a castle, Daniel.
Yes, but it's a bigger fort.
Yeah, and that's why, at least in my opinion, a Dark Descent is the superior game.
So
out of
you
the-
see, that's why. Okay.
So, what about everybody else?
Right. I didn't understand the question. The characters?
No.
No,
It was the atmosphere.
The atmosphere. Well, we already said a lot about the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think we drove to our points about the atmosphere. It was good. You know, sound
Okay.
design.
Last.
Any more questions do you have done?
Yes. Only 3 more. Let's
How
keep
many
them
more
short.
questions do you have? Yes.
How many?
Did you enjoy the game?
The what now?
Did you enjoy the game?
Up to the point I played it? Yeah, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I felt like it was wasting my time. And to be honest, that's one of the big things I look for in games. Not to make me feel like I'm not wasting time. And I didn't feel like I wasted time with this one. It was good. Again, after I shifted my mentality from it's a horror game to it's a sci-fi game, I actually started enjoying it more. So yeah, take that as you will, dear listener.
Stefan, Chobo?
Well, I mean, horror games are not my cup of tea, so yeah, I don't know if I should, if I'm neutral or like negative about it, because
Look,
yeah, I
here's
don't
how
really
you answer this
enjoy
question.
horror
Did
games.
it make you shit your pants?
Yes.
Then it's a good horror game, especially for somebody who's not really into the genre.
Okay, last question. Would you recommend this to someone who enjoys horror games?
Nah. Honestly, no.
I could see myself telling them, hey, play Amnesia Dark Descent first and then play this.
Yeah, and then stop at the top. The
fort.
Honestly, if I knew somebody who was a fan, I wouldn't recommend this as a horror game.
Well,
I
yeah,
recommend this as a weird, quirky story, especially if you don't know if you haven't played The Dark Descent.
or if you love games where you get bits and pieces of the story and you try to come up with ideas of where it's going and what's gonna happen.
I've tried doing that and I came out disappointed.
Like your sex tape.
Okay, that was my last question.
All right, so I think we've answered the final thoughts.
yeah, but
So, I mean, it's not a bad game.
No.
It's not really the best horror game out there. Way better than some other horror games that came out recently.
Mm.
But it's not really, it didn't live up to the expectations I at least have from frictional games. I see what they were trying to do. They did it great. Problem is I was expecting something else and that's my own fault.
Honestly, I saw what they did and the start was great, but then it kind of went downhill, and I'm like,
Yeah. I
don't
think they
know,
had
it-
a good running start up until the fort and they just stumbled till the end.
it
No,
was a crash landing.
To me, it's clear that they wanted just to tell the story and flesh out the world of Amnesia as a whole.
Mm.
I don't think being completely scary, over the top scary, was their main focus for this. At least that's how I feel. So I would not call it a bad game.
Well, I think that about wraps it up, right?
Yep. The only thing left is to, I guess, decide now on the spot for the next game, for the next episode, which will be out in 2 weeks, by the way. Check us out. We have merch.
no, we don't.
Too soon. Too soon.
I'm
seeing-
Ghost Runner, and I'll do a vote for that as well. That looks interesting.
If you want a take on it, it kind of seems like it's a Mirror's Edge, but with a lot more combat and kind of better made possible.
I've seen the game recommended because I played Doom, so I'll take it at that.
Well, I guess we're all in agreement here.
I voted for Jet Set Radio, so
Let's. I mean,
Yeah, Ghost Runner is good.
yeah, I think we can do Ghost Runner. We'll just put Jesse Radio on the backlog. See if that. Right. So, in 2 weeks, one should expect Ghost Runner to be our next topic, and hopefully, well, I don't know, you'll be entertained just like you are now. And if you weren't, I'm sorry, maybe next time you'll be even more entertained.
Alright, folks, that was the Game vs. Bias podcast. We'll be on in 2 weeks, as we just said. Thank you, anyone, for coming and watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
really nailed that ending.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Chris. You're up.
What? What do you mean I'm up? You said I'm just.
Oh, I'm keeping this.
Behind the
Come on, guys. Why you gotta do a brother like that?